But let's move into our next topic, and we are super excited to welcome back our patron, Jake, for the 12th straight month. It is the year-anniversary of Jake being on our podcast. We are super excited to have him back. 12 straight months of having him on the Fast Break podcast. Way back when Lonzo Ball was dropping triple-doubles as rookies, and Jake was calling him a bum. Jake, how you doing today?
Hey, he's still a bum.
Oh.
What hot takes do you have for us today?
I don't know, honestly. My week was ruined after the Celtics just decimated the Sixers.
But then you got back and you decimated the Bulls, and I think we kept disrespecting. I put that in air quotes because we haven't been disrespecting the Sixers, but we've been disrespecting the Sixers. But I give your boy Ben Simmons Defensive Player of the Year nods, and so far he's playing like it. So I think I'm giving some good mojo to your Sixers. But today we are bringing back. Jake wasn't on this last topic. It was actually an OT edition when it was just Dave and I last year doing it in front of the green screen. But we're bringing back Oakley Foakley. It is our version of buy or sell. Oakley for Charles Oakley for being the real deal, and then Foakley for being the fake ass shit like trees. So we have 12 things that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to send 4 to each one of the guys. So Jake, Dave, and Ricky. And they're going to play our own version of buy or sell. So let's do it. We're going to start off with Jake. And Jake, we got to give you a Sixers topic to start off. And we're going to talk about Markelle Fultz. 2 games already against the Sixers against the Celtics and the Bulls. And he started both of them. So far, it's been iffy. Should Markelle Fultz be starting for the 76ers? Is that Oakley or Foakley?
I'm going to go with Foakley on this one. Not that I don't like the kid or anything like that. I think he's going to be good, but as of now, he's been too hesitant to shoot three-pointers, even though he made one yesterday. It slows down the offense too much, in my opinion. And having JJ out there would give him a spark. And even though the only reason they were in that Bulls game to start is because both teams were shooting a crazy percentage, but it wasn't thanks to him.
No, yeah. And he did finally hit his first 3. And obviously we've been seeing his
standing ovation,
his struggles, and we saw a Fultz skull chant as well. We've been seeing the struggles, and obviously teams have been noticing it as well, pretty much not guarding him when he's beyond the three-point line. Do you agree with Jake with the Markelle Fultz should not be starting?
I do agree with Jake. I think that he's smart about this. JJ Redick and that team, that lineup last year was one of the best offensive and defensive units in the entire league. So go back to that, continue having success. Let Fultz lead the second unit. Let him work with TJ out there. And run that. Less pressure. And honestly, he needs to be the guy who runs that offense. And I feel like it was 4v5 out there on offense last time because when he wasn't engaged, he was just standing off to the side. He wasn't put in motion. He wasn't doing a whole lot. So I'm going second unit, let him be a stud.
You got any differing opinion?
No, I don't. And the thing I'm going to relate it to is this isn't like the Lakers where if the Lakers want to later in the year now, if they want to let's throw out Ball and Rondo. Fultz isn't old enough to be like Rondo where it's hey, you know what? I'm going to let Ball be the ball-dominant guy. I can do other things with my game, mainly play defense and not have to bring the ball up. Plus, they've got LeBron, which is a different story. I just don't know why you would throw Ben Simmons out there and Markelle Fultz and expect Fultz in college. He was ball-dominant. He hasn't been that confident in the NBA so far. So what's going to get him confident? In my mind, lead the second unit, be that ball-dominant guard, kind of maybe that'll spark him to, I remember how to do this, and then not have to be I'm playing with Ben Simmons, who Ben Simmons is going to bring the ball up for the Sixers team. There's no question.
I weirdly disagree with all of you here, and it's not because his play's been phenomenal and he deserves to be out there, and JJ would give them a better run, but the pressure, I don't think, really comes in the beginning of the game. It comes near the end of the game, and you can always take him out and put JJ in. And we've even been seeing in the second half, JJ has been starting out with the original 4. Yep. And I think with Fultz, it just gets him his feet wet early, and it gets him into the game. And yes, he's not playing the position that would probably best suit his skills, but in the end goal of this, you want him to be a starter. He's the first overall pick. So you got to at least get him out there and trying, get him into the mood of being a starter. And even running the second unit might be too much of a problem because you don't have Ben out there. You don't have Joe out there. You don't have a go-to scorer to rely on there. When Ben's out there, when Joe's out there.
TJ.
Of course, TJ was putting up 8 points per game in his career. When you look, or maybe Dario, though. I mean, Dario and Markelle will be something interesting to watch, though. But again, I think it's a little bit more pressure because you don't have someone who is a rock out there to rely offensively. And he's good defensively, and it just helps that defense, at least with Ben, Joe, Rocco all out there. I think it's actually a good fit right now just because it's early in the season. You're not losing games after the first 5 minutes. It's not going to hurt him. It's just going to hopefully help his confidence. And I think giving Brett Brown, putting that confidence behind him is going to help him in probably the problems he had last year as well. We're going to go to Dave next. Your boy, the moist one, Malik Monk, dropping 18 points, 7 of 16 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3 in 34 minutes, coming off the bench against the Bucks. Are you buying that he will be a consistent starter at the end of the season for the Hornets?
A consistent starter? No. I don't know that he'll succeed Jeremy Lamb. Lamb's got years of experience on him. He is more, I guess, he and Kemba have a good relationship. I see Malik Monk as like one of the better six men, though, just because he can walk into a game and just start lighting up the scoreboard. Like, he just drops shots. He doesn't hesitate. He's got a great confidence to his game right now. I know tonight, as we're recording this, he put up like 11, 2, and 1. Like, so obviously not as much, but like, he's going to be in that 10 to 15 range pretty consistently. Is he going to take the spot from him? I don't think so because of the lack of defense on his end. I think Lamb's a better guy to go with out of the gates, but Malik Monk could be an elite six-man.
Ricky, Oakley, Foakley.
I am going to go with Oakley on this one, and the only reason why I am is because, to me, the Hornets, I know we're 2 games in, but the main game that I watched was that one against the Bucks, and it was one where it's like, Jake, I even think you messaged Sean, and I saw it pop up on my phone. Kemba put up 41.
He did.
And that team still lost that game. So I feel like the Hornets are going to be this team where, especially when they go up against the teams that we thought would be playoff caliber teams, it's going to be, hey, you know what? We need the guys that are going to be giving us the best effort out there. Malik Monk, I think, will give that effort, and the Hornets probably won't be a playoff caliber team. Might be like right there at like 9-10, and because of that, they just need bodies out there, and Malik Monk is going to give them a reason to put him out there in the starting lineup and get consistent minutes.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the fact that Kemba might get traded soon. They might need someone to run the one.
That too.
Jake, Oakley, Foakley on Malik Monk.
I think Foakley on him starting. I think Oakley on him being one of the best six men in the league. I think he can transition to kind of like a Jamal Crawford role, where he can be a primary ball handler off the bench and he can take the majority of the shots. I also think he has potential to be able to run an offense. I just think he's a really skilled young player that's just very raw and hasn't been able to develop yet.
Now, would you rather have Fultz or Malik Monk?
What role am I putting him in?
I don't know. Second unit.
I would still take Markelle Fultz because I'm still treating him like a rookie. Yeah, I know. Haha, Sixers rookie.
I was going to say, Malik Monk didn't play much more than Markelle Fultz did last year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he also didn't deal with the same trauma, though.
I think he played over 40 games at least.
He got benched for like part of the year, and he was getting like scrap minutes here and there.
He's still playing though. I mean, he wasn't not out there at all. He still had a uniform.
It wasn't
like Jonathan Isaac, who missed it and also didn't know where his uniform was for the first game. Looking at Monk too, I think it's going to be a Foakley as well, just because you look at it, he's still getting more minutes than Jeremy Lamb. Lamb got 1 more minute today, but I think it was 34 in the first game and 21 for Lamb in the second one. I think that they're going to run with it because, again, this first 5 minutes of the game doesn't really matter, doesn't really affect you. It's near the end. And if you need go-to scoring and Kemba's not working it today, you can go to Malik Monk if he's on fire off the bench, and we've seen that before with plenty of six men. We'll move now to Ricky, and I'm going to give you one for your boy. We saw a lot of rookies have nice performances. Luka Doncic was decent. DeAndre Ayton was fantastic. Marvin Bagley was a little bit iffy in his debut. Trae Young a little bit iffy as well. But Mo Bamba was absolutely fantastic. He had 13, 7, 2 blocks, 6 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. Will he finish as a starting center for the Magic?
I am going to – see, I don't know where to lean on this one because there's two sides of it. One – is you say by the end of the year. Well, by the end of the year, what's the confidence in Vucevic? And our fans, is the Magic, are they going to be ready to kind of move on from that and go, hey, let's put Mo Bamba. There's a reason why we drafted him so high. However, I'm going to say Foakley. And the reason why is you mentioned that game. He played a really good game, but he is still a rookie. And we saw the next game where it's like, yeah, he had 19 minutes, but he had no points. He 0 from 4 from the field. Obviously, that's what you get when you get 0 points.
Yeah.
And then only had 5 boards, 2 assists, 1 block. That, to me, is like, this is what we may see from Mo Bamba. There may be flashes where it's like, ooh, this is why we drafted him. This is what he can bring. But then he is still kind of learning and adjusting his game, building his body the way it needs to be. So I'm going to say Foakley. Next year, we can maybe focus on him being the sole starter at the 5 for the Magic.
Anyone saying Oakley to Mo Bamba being the starter at the end of the year for the Magic?
I am.
You are?
Yeah, because I think Vucevic has moved at the deadline.
Do you think the Magic actually will do that, though?
Yeah, I think they actually will.
And what do you think they're probably going to be looking to get back
Mm-hmm.
for it? And which team do you think might be a good fit for Vucevic? Because, I mean, even today he had 4 blocks, and I mean, he still can stretch the defense out a little bit.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee's a pretty good fit for him, honestly. I don't know if they're looking for much of a defensive center, but he can give you volume scoring, and he's good on the boards. And he's been improving defensively. I think there could be a good fit. I don't know anybody else. I don't know many teams that need a big man, but I think Milwaukee is still in search of one. And if he is moved, I think that'd be a pretty decent destination.
Yeah, the only thing with Milwaukee is they got Brook Lopez, and he plays a very similar role as Vucevic. And that's the one thing with Vucevic is, he's a decent player, but you can find guys like Vucevic, and Vucevic isn't great because even when you trade a guy like that, he's not going to become one of your top 3 guys. Vucevic isn't that type of player, so he might become a starter, might come off the bench, but I don't think he's going to have an impact like you saw with your center Ilyasova last year, or even Marco Bellinelli. I don't think he's going to have that like veteran impact off the bench because he doesn't play that major of a role. I don't think he's going to end up starting. Dave?
Definitely not. He's really raw. Like, he's really good, smart player, wants to learn, wants to grow, but he's not there yet physically, and getting dominated by Cody Zeller and Hernan Gomez is a shining star of this is where you're actually at.
And we saw the first movement of Cavs post LeBron James. We saw our boy Cedi Osman, or what is it, Cedi Osman? Whatever. Cedi, Cheddar, whatever his name is.
Oh my
Cheddar Osman.
We're just going to
Jedi Osman. GD, though, ends up coming in, starting for the Cavs, and ends up putting up 17 points. So, Dave, I'm going to you because we have liked him before, although we mispronounce his name like all the time when we talk about
time.
Is CGD going to average over 14.5 points per game?
I think he will. I think that this is a team ripe for someone to take over because Rodney Hood doesn't like the spotlight. Well, he's proven that a couple times. And really, Kevin Love is looking for that second guy who can step up. And I think he's just in the right position. He's got a good skill set. He's sound as far as his practical, good passer, good rebounder, solid shooter from the outside. But he's actually pretty good with ball handling. He's a crafty dribbler. So I think that, give me 14 plus. I'm all in. He's an Oakley.
Oakley for
Cedi
Osman. You buying this, Ricky?
This is one where I will be completely honest. I saw this one and I went, in my personal meter of careness, I don't give a crap. So for me, I'm going to say Oakley just to be positive about it. It's the Cavs. They don't have LeBron James. They need somebody other than K-Love to put the ball in the hoop.
What if he's a star waiting to be born?
What if he's the next Gordon Hayward?
What if he's the next Lady Gaga?
I don't think that's the case. I just think he's going to be on a team where Colin Sexton is still growing into his own as a NBA player, and especially early on can get some points and it can be comfortable with this team. After 1 or 2 games, I'm still not high on the Cavs, and I'm just saying Oakley to be positive about it.
To think that he can score points.
I mean, he's going to score points because they need someone other than K-Love to score points.
And that's the question. And right now he's got 22 points, 8 assists, 3 boards, 3 turnovers, a plus 10, 4 of 7 from the field, 9 of 17 from 4 of 7 from 3, 9 of 17 from the field. Jake, you buying this on GD?
Oh, 100% Oakley. I think he's an efficient volume scorer, and I think he's been working all offseason to get better. He saw him training with LeBron. He was the best player at those practices.
Damn.
I mean, he's
over Kawhi, LeBron, and it was a Dame too.
Sorry, no.
You heard what he said.
I didn't. No, but it was
cheddar cheese. I'm gonna call him cheddar cheese.
Yeah, cheddar cheese, LeBron, Kawhi, and who was the other one? Was it Dame?
I honestly
don't know. KD, wasn't it? It was Kevin Durant, wasn't it?
Oh, it was KD.
Yeah,
so it was
KD.
the 4 best.
I think he's a very efficient volume scorer, and he's finally going to get shots at minutes. because he never really got them with LeBron there. I think he could do it. 15 a game is pretty manageable.
Yeah, and right now he's got the second most shots in this game, just behind Caleb, who's dropping a sweet 25, 19, and 7 against his old
6
team.
6 of 19.
Yeah, 6 of 19. But they're most likely going to lose this game as well. It's 129-123 with 16.6 left. Wiggins having another good game. He's got 22. Butler's got 31, and Karl-Anthony Towns trailing behind. He's got 12. Taj Gibson has more points than him. Let's move on to the next one, though. I just went to Dave, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to Jake. We're going to go to one of your old boys. I'm changing up the direction, but Sauce Castillo last night against the Lakers.
God.
5 of 8 from 3, 24 points. Is Sauce Castillo legit? Can we see 12 a night or so off the bench from Sauce Castillo, Nik Stauskas?
No. I don't even know if I have to say anything. Just no.
Really?
I've been through this with him. I've seen this whole story with him. He gets hot for a couple games. Everybody's like, oh, he's a shooter. That's what he is. He's a shooter. He's going to get hot for certain games, and then he's going to go like 5 games in a row where he has like 6 points combined. It's just I don't think personally that he's going to do it. I hope he does, because I remember he was part of the trade that we did with the Kings that basically stole their draft picks. But I don't see it happening at all.
I mean, he's got 27 minutes, which was pretty impressive. And the last time he got those type of minutes, at least, was when he was on the Sixers. It was back in 2016, 2017. 27 minutes a night, 36.9% or 39.6% from the field, 36.8% from 3. Got 9.5 points per game. If he has a high volume, he's playing with Dame and CJ. And even Nurkic and Collins
he could get
as well.
some good looks.
I think 12 isn't too crazy for old Sauce Castillo. I think this is an Oakley.
Oh, my God.
Anybody?
I'm straight Foakley with this one, because the only reason, to me, he did well in this game, because, A, this was the perfect storm. He's going up against a Laker team that isn't gelled yet together, and also, their play style fits Nik Stauskas. Hey, if you want to run, I'll run. I can shoot the 3-ball pretty well. And the thing that irritated me in that game was LeBron didn't hit a 3. B.I. wide open in the corner. You can't knock down a 3, B.I. Kuzma was 1 and 7. Like, if, let's say...
The only one who could shoot was Josh Hart.
Oh, I know. He's the only one. But it was like if LeBron nails one, if B.I. nails one, give one more to Kuzma. It's a tie game at the end of the game.
I think they started 0 of 15 and finished 7 of 30. So, you take that second half and you go, okay, we shot like 50% from 3 almost. So I'm not worried about that. Sauce Castillo is a Foakley, though. This boy is not, look, he'll get looks because of that offense, and having Dame and CJ out there will draw attention.
But let's see what he does against a different team that's not going to run the court.
What's going to happen when he gets run off the court because of his lack of defense? Because that's what I'm used to seeing. Teams attack him.
But again, it's more of a bench role, and I think 12 a night isn't crazy. And I don't think he's getting run off the court because he's not really a starter, and he's not going to be getting 27 a night like he did. But if he gets 20 a night and he gets maybe 6 looks a night, if he hits 3 of them, he's already at 9. So I think that
you do you.
12 could be something.
I'm rolling, folks.
I think that especially with Seth Curry, having Zach Collins, having Evan Turner, he can play off ball, especially with Dame and CJ if he ever paired up with them.
Yeah.
I think that it's a pretty nice fit because he's never been in a place that has given them this much stability, having a ball handler there, because obviously he didn't have that when he was in Philadelphia. He didn't have that when he was in Sacramento. He really didn't have that in Brooklyn for his 35 games there as well. And we look at finally being in Portland, he has Dame, he has CJ, he has Seth. He has even
being
Evan Turner.
around better players gives you better looks. No one's going to argue with that logic.
And I think that his 9 career high in 2016, 2017 can go all the way up to 12. We'll see, though. 27 minutes is a lot, though.
It is. I don't know if that's going to be the norm.
Let's move now to Zach LaVine. Had a fantastic night against the 76ers. Looked super athletic. Looked like he was back. Still lost that game. Ricky, I'm going to you. Will Zach LaVine average over 22.5 points per game? I think his career high sits around 18.
I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say yes. And the only reason why is in the first game, what I saw from Zach LaVine is it looked like, all right, I am ready to lead this team. And I feel like he's going to go out there. Is it going to be good or bad for our record? Probably more bad than good. But it's going to be, hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to lead this team. And this team's going to have to learn how to play, A, as a team, but B, learn how to play some defense as well, because you look at the plus minuses and it's just horrible across the board for most of the Bulls, except for Jabari. We know he don't play defense. But I feel like Zach is going to lead this team. The thing that I wonder is, how the starting lineup's going to change because Bobby came out. Bobby played great as well, had 20
Bobby
points
was
from
our best
himself.
player.
And then the thing I wonder is with Jabari, is he in a bench role right now because of the injury? And eventually will he be shifted in and Campaign, his garbage ass will be on the bench again?
Yeah,
because I can't believe that Campaign still has a job in this league.
But, I mean, the reason why he was only starting was because Chris Dunn had a kid, so congrats, like the real KD.
Hey.
But I don't think Jabari is ever going to slide into the starting role unless an injury happens because what position would he play? Who would he kick out?
We were saying either at the beginning, the one we made the trade, we were saying either the 3 or the 4.
It wasn't a trade. But
or the free agency.
Yeah, but I think having Jabari come off the bench does give them an extra element, and especially having Bobby Portis out there. I think it's a pretty decent look having Jabari off the bench because, again, he's not going to be able to be late in games because he doesn't want to play defense, and he can give you bench scoring.
Yeah, no, I actually, he's playing the Bobby role right now, and Bobby's definitely stepping up and doing awesome. I'm in. Zach LaVine's Oakley. The kid is athletic. He has a great shot, and when he's actually locked in, not a problem. The biggest problem for him is the lack of defense. He's got all the athleticism in the world to actually get there. He just needs to learn how to pick up. And again, this is a team of guys who haven't played a bunch together because of him being injured last year. New guys coming into the system.
And we don't really have a defensive-minded coach.
Not really a concern. But he's an Oakley. He's going to be our scorer. He's going to be our dude. Even if Bobby's a better player right now, Zach LaVine will be our star.
Jake, Oakley, Foakley.
Oakley on Zach LaVine, 100%. I was talking to you about it. Oh, I sent you a message earlier today. I was like, I think Zach LaVine offensively at least is somebody that you could build a team around. That guy was lighting up, and he's somebody you can turn to get a final shot, or when you desperately need a basket, you can create it in so many different ways. I think he's just effective.
Yeah, I look at him, and I think it's going to be a Foakley because, again, his high was 18.9. And you look at what Basketball Reference is projecting. They're projecting 16 attempts per game. You don't have Markkanen, who is your leading scorer. You don't have Wendell Carter, who's right now currently in a role. Jabari's going to get more shots. I don't think he's going to get 19 shots a night. He's not going to shoot 57% from the field. His three-point percentage will go up, so he's not going to go 28% like he was. And also, I don't think he's going to get to the line 7 times a night because typically when he gets there, he's already taking off, and they're not going to go up and foul him. I mean, he's a guy that attacks the rim, and they usually don't go up and are that aggressive
Younger
against
teams,
him.
Non-disciplined defenders. That's basically why I got there.
I think that he's going to get his own, but I don't think 22.5 is a lot. And I don't remember the last guy to probably average that much for the Bulls was Jimmy, and even then before that it was probably D Rose. So I mean, 22.5 is a lot for him. And I don't think it's going to happen, especially when Markkanen comes back, unless he absolutely balls out and averages around 28 before Markkanen comes back, which is going to be crazy because that's going to be near the league or leading the league.
Yep.
So I'll say Foakley on 22.5. Let's move now to I'm going to go back to Jake, and we're going to go Devin Booker, MVP candidate. When you look at the game last night, 35.7 assists. Obviously, we don't think high of the Suns, but if Devin Booker pops off night in, night out, does he have a shot at being a dark horse for the MVP?
No. I don't think he has to at least be in the playoffs to be even considered in the MVP, no matter what your numbers are in my mind. I don't think they're going to even be close to touching the playoffs in the West. He could put up 32, 33 a night, and I still don't think he would even be in the top 3.
Really?
Wow.
33, I think the last person to do 33 was
Shaq?
Yeah, no, Kobe,
I understand.
You're right.
Even if they're not in playoff contention, and you still have Anthony Davis putting up these ridiculous stat lines, you're going to have Curry putting up his ridiculous stat lines, and you're still going to Giannis apparently right now is the best player in the East. I just don't think he wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Phoenix Suns playoff hopes, and if it is legit, especially after their great game last night against the Mavericks. We'll see what happens from that. I think that he could be a sleeper. I'm not saying top 5, but if he finishes top 10 in the MVP voting after having a phenomenal season, and if they win over 30 games, I think he's got a shot to win it.
Well, yeah, if we open it up to top 10, then maybe. With me, when you say MVP candidate, the 3 I only care about are the top 3. I don't care if you're in
still means you're on the ballot. Some people are voting you
I'm talking me personally. I don't care. If you're I'm 5th on the MVP. Yeah, it's like the Heisman. Oh, I was 5th on the Heisman. Get out of here. You weren't going to win the Heisman at number 5. When you say MVP candidate to me, I'm talking top 3. Dev Booker, for the exact reason Jake said, will not be an MVP candidate because his team will not be in playoff contention. I think at the end of the year, with how everything's going to go, we kind of picked the MVPs in our award segment we did. I think that Giannis will be in there, AD will be in there, LeBron will be in there, and those will be our three candidates. Maybe like a James Harden if he plays well this year, but I mean, I feel like there's going to be other players on teams that are playoff caliber to where it's like, yeah, let's give it to him, not Devin Booker, who his team will be missing the playoffs this year, although they might be more improved than they were last year.
All 13 guys who did get votes last year did make the playoffs. All their teams did. Oakley.
Foakley. I think, he is a stud and awesome, and that was a great game out of the gates, even with an injured hand. Even if this team adds 15 wins, they're still not a playoff team, and that's a lot. Like, you look at the numbers for the year that Steve Nash came over, and I think he brought them, 20-something wins. I mean, he completely changed the franchise just by adding him. Devin Booker, we're expecting another year, but they've added in so many new pieces. So, and Trevor Ariza, Ayton, and a couple of these pieces, Ryan Anderson, guys like that, I'm not going to put all their success on him. So it's going to be hard to give him credit for this team's massive improvement this year. So I'm going to go with Foakley.
Yeah, they add Nash in after the 2003-2004 season. They went from 29 to 62 wins.
Yeah,
which is
that's
huge.
a game changer.
And Nash did win the MVP that year. And that was one of the controversial ones. I think that was the least controversial one because of the absolute jump that he did. Right. I think he had 20 and 10 or something like that. Let's move on to the next one. Move this a little bit quicker. We'll go to Ricky, and we'll do the Rockets. Should they be worried after losing the Pelicans 131-112 on second day of the season?
I joked with you guys and said this is the curse of Melo. That's not why I'm saying that they should be worried. I'm saying it's because you obviously lost a lot of defense that you had last year. And I'm not putting everything in Trevor Ariza, but maybe a little bit in Trevor Ariza of what he brought to this team. I think that this team, overall in the season, we're not going to be worried. They'll still be a top 2, top 3 team in the West, but I'm sorry, if we're coming to playoffs now, I know it's overreaction what we see from one game, but I'm looking at that team and it's like, your offense can do whatever you want. I don't see you hitting and beating a Warriors team that is clicking on all cylinders with the defense that I saw from game numero uno.
Dave, Oakley.
Foakley. This is not a concern. This is a game 1 blip. It's just a bad matchup. I don't know what else there is to this because it's just not a problem. They're a team that does not have bigs to stop. They have Clint Capella, and that's about it.
What if PJ Tucker's not a big?
PJ Tucker can defend to an extent, but I'm sorry, every time they moved over to Anthony Davis, he was happy to pass out of the post because guess what? He's got a new buddy now. He's got somebody who's knocking down shots left and right, hotter than anybody. They lost against the Pelicans last year a couple times, so it's not a surprise to me.
What if they get matched up in the playoffs?
It's a matchup nightmare.
Okay. Then it's a worry?
Matchup nightmare. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Are you on Ricky or Dave's side, Jake?
I'm on Dave's side. I don't think it's an overreaction. I think people like to look into the regular season too much. I remember a couple years ago, Michael Carter-Williams beat the Heat game 1 of the season by himself, basically. Nobody overreacted then. I don't even really know what they have to overreact to. Are they going to overreact the fact they're not going to make the Western Conference Finals and get swept by the Warriors? I don't think any team in the West should overreact to anything. I don't think anybody should read into the first month of the season really that much.
Well, I think the overreaction would come from losing that much at home to a team that people aren't looking at a top 3 team in the Western Conference. And then also you look at, again, Chris Paul's getting older. Then you look at Ariza leaving. Trevor Ariza leaving. Who's their other loss? Luka Mbamute as well. Yep. And then you add Melo and Michael Carter-Williams, guys who are absolute studs out there. And you're probably worried about how much that's going to affect them because defensively they were great last year. Is this going to be the regression that we thought was going to happen? We didn't think they were going to be that great defensively last year. So I think that's where the worry comes from. But I think I was listening to Hardwood Knocks with Andy Bailey, and he mentioned something. He was talking to somebody, and they were like, well, if you take this game and it was in January, would you worry? No, it's just one game. And to start off the season, it's bad. But that does not mean it's going to set the pace and the expectations for this year. So I'll say Foakley on this. I still have him in the Western Conference Finals. I'm not going to change it after one game. Let's go back to Dave, and we kind of mentioned it a little bit with the AD and Mirotic thing. Drummond and Blake, 2 guys on our fantasy team that we already talked about in the first segment, put up 24-20 for Drummond and 26-8-6 in their first game against the Nets. Are they the best front court duo in the NBA?
they're good, but they're not the best because they don't have what AD and Nico have, and that is the ability to shoot the three ball from consistent volume. Like AD is obviously one of the
Drummond
best.
did hit a 3.
He hit a 3.
He hit a 3.
I think Nico hit 6 a game or 8 a game right now. Nico is dropping them like there's nothing to it. It's easy. So while they are good, and I like this, this is what we expected out of them last year was dominant bigs working together, Blake going back to old school solo Blake. But no, I'm going Foakley's on this. I think right now it's you can't ignore what AD and Nico are doing.
Foakley.
I'm saying Foakley, and I'm going to take this route, and some people may not like it. We're not going to see the best front court in the NBA until the end of the year.
What's
it's
that
Boogie
mean?
and Draymond.
Oh.
Come on. Just because Boogie's injured right now, once he gets out there, boom, instant best front court in the NBA, especially what they're going to be able to do. And then people will not forget, but it'll be like, wow, we thought this was the best. No, that's the best front court in the NBA.
Now, Jake, not only Oakley Foakley, but if Foakley, who is the best duo?
Foakley, as much as I want to say I'm beating Sarge right now, but through the first 2 games at least, it has to be Anthony Davis and Nicole Mirotic. I mean, the way I look at it is, if I'm in a playoff series and I need a team to carry me to a victory, I don't trust Blake and I don't trust Drummond. I can trust AD to get the job done. I don't know much about Mirotic, but I can trust Anthony Davis. I just don't think, and the rest of that, and you also have to look even, Markelle, when you talk about best front court, you just want to look at those 2 players, but you have to look about who they're surrounded by. And I think the Pelicans have the better surroundings than the Pistons do.
And Julius Randle is a backup out there. I mean, that
exactly.
team is just unique.
Well, and the fun thing, too.
Drew Holiday, too.
Yeah, and I mentioned it before. It was, I think in the preseason predictions, it was if you put Mirotic and Randle out there, it still works. If you put Randle and AD out there, it still works. If you put Mirotic and AD out there, it still works. But if we're just talking best duo, I think Boogie and Draymond will have an argument, but I got to see Draymond and see how he plays because they might hold him out for the whole season.
Well,
they might.
Boogie.
No.
We don't know.
Boogie's going to be out there.
I mean, right now he's
Christmas.
doing 3-on-3 and 5-on-5.
Yeah.
But you never know. We have no idea what's going to happen.
He's the average recovery time.
It was February he went out, and we were expecting a year.
We were expecting less than a year because the average recovery time for this injury is 320 days.
Okay, and
300 days.
Okay, so what? That's going to put him in January?
No, that's putting him
It was February 14th when the injury happened. So
how many days are in a month,
January.
Sean?
30.
30. So that'd be
go
to December.
31.
Go to December.
The thing though that I agree with Sean though is based off of how good this team is, they might not rush him back for December. They might say, hey, we can put him in February, March, April, right before the playoffs because we're going to make the playoffs. We just need to put him in with enough time for him to gel with this team.
He wants to earn a contract.
It'd be December 30th.
Exactly.
No.
If it was February 14th.
It was if you look back the people who've had the injury, I was reading some of that.
Here's the thing. If it was February 14th and it's a 320-day recovery.
No, it's not a 320. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
that was the worst. The worst end was at 320. The top end was at 260 or something. So there's a range. Expect him back before Christmas by far.
We'll see. He's working out. I hope Drummond and Blake are the best front court duo this year, just because they're on our fantasy. Yeah. But again, I think AD is such a dynamic player, and although Mirotic is worse than Blake and Drummond, I would say. Yeah. Although obviously outside the first 2 games, we'll see how he does consistently over their careers and talents.
We know how hot Nico can get, though.
I'll take Blake and Drummond over Nico. But again, AD is that good, and the gap might be that different because of AD's skill. Let's move now to Jake, and we'll go to T-Wolves quickly. T-Wolves, can they work with Jimmy? They lost 112-108 against the Spurs. Cat fouled out. Jeff Teague went off. Gorgie Dieng took more shots than Cat. Wiggins played some defense. They win tonight against the Cavs, but again, we're not expecting the Cavs to be a playoff team. Are you expecting that with Jimmy Butler still on this team, for however long that may be, the Wolves can win games and put themselves near a playoff position?
Yeah, I think they put them near the playoff position. I just don't know. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that locker room because I think it's all going good all in front of the cameras and everything, but there's no way there's no tension in the locker room right now with him and Wiggins mostly. Wiggins made and won today, and Jimmy Butler got up and started fake cheering basically on the bench. It's just I don't know. I would love to have Jimmy Butler on my team, and I think that the Timberwolves players are a bunch of sensitive people, we'll say. And none of the stuff he said was wrong, so I think they should be able to work, but I don't think they would be able to.
Anyone saying Oakley or Foakley on this? that the T-Wolves cannot work with Jimmy Butler or can work with Jimmy Butler?
I'm saying Oakley. Last year they had him and they made the playoffs, so why not? The interesting thing to go with Jake is I was watching Highly Questionable, and they showed the playoff tape that LeBron put on Instagram of him hitting the 3 at the buzzer at their pickup game, and Dan was like, no, scratch this. That means there's tape of that Jimmy practice. Get us that tape. Somebody owns that tape. And I'm with them.
Juicy drama.
I want that tape. I want to see it. But the interesting thing from tonight about Jimmy is he got booed at the beginning of the game. Then at the free throw line, their MVP chants. Make up your mind, Minnesota. You hate him or you love him because you can't be both.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things where you see your ex-girlfriend at the start of the party and you're like, you son of a bitch. Like, you goddamn.
How dare you show
I hate you so much. And then at the end, you're in love with her.
Maybe it's
you
because...
still love her. You never fell out of love with her. She
maybe
broke
it's
up with
because
you're ugly.
I'm I've lived... Maybe it's because we're from Chicago, and Chicagoans are true. If I hate you, I hate you.
That's
if I
true.
booed you from the start, I am not saying MVP at the end of the game.
We're some stubborn motherfuckers.
That's what we are.
The point being that it's an Oakley. Like, the T-Wolves can work with Jimmy. Like, he has been the reason why they got to the playoffs for the first time in, 13 years. Mm-hmm. So, no. You need Jimmy to play well. Jimmy plays really well.
Jimmy likes that.
Jimmy's a fan. Does Jimmy want to be there long term and not get paid his money? No. But, the problem is you got to make money for Jimmy. If Jimmy doesn't get his money, Jimmy's going to walk.
Here's the thing. Butler is stupidly good. Yeah. 10 of 12 tonight, 1 of 1 from 3, 12 of 12 from the line. He scored 33 points on 12 shots and was massively efficient.
I respect
that. And did not have a foul at all. And he was great in that. It wasn't super efficient in that Spurs game, but still, he was fine.
Yeah.
And I look at it, and Wiggins is responding. Wiggins is stepping up and playing defense, and it's weird.
Yeah.
He's going out there, and he's trying his best to actually score out there. And he wasn't super efficient tonight, but still 8 of 21, 1 of 5 from 3, 5 of 5 from the line, 2 personal fouls, 3 steals, and 22 points, and a -1 plus minus. I know some people hate plus minus. The thing that I'm worried about with the whole locker room thing, and the guy that I'm worried about now is Karl-Anthony Towns. Fouled out in the first game, had 4 fouls this game, 35 minutes, but played less minutes than Dieng in that first game, only got 10 shots, which was the same as Taj Gibson. Gibson outscored him. It's something where we consistently see him going up against bigger guys and better players in some ways, like a Joel Embiid, and just crumbling under the pressure. Going to the playoffs, crumbling under the pressure. Now the pressure's turned up in Minnesota, and he's not able to do so. He's not able to rise to the occasion. Wiggins, although he wasn't efficient, he's rising to the occasion and trying to show up Jimmy Butler. Cat right now is shrinking, and I'm worried about that because that's something you might not be able to grow out of. And yes, he's only 22 years old.
Cat's not a center. That's all I'm seeing out here, is that this lineup doesn't work because Cat's not a center.
But even then, I don't think he has the ability to say, all right, let's... I don't think he has the ability to respond. But I'm saying he doesn't have the ability to respond. Mentality-wise, he doesn't have the ability to respond.
Yeah.
So although they can probably work and beat the Cavs, whoop-de-doo, Cedi Osman's their second leading scorer.
Cedi Osman.
I don't think they're going to be able to work because you need all 3 of them clicking.
D Rose was plus 20 that game, just to context that one.
Yeah, but he was also garbage in the Spurs game. They only gave him 6 shots in this one.
I want to hear it.
6 man.
But again, I'm saying this is Foakley because I look at this, and you need all 3 of them to be great, and you need all 3 of them to make the playoffs. Cat's not there right now, and until he shows up, I'm not buying it because you're gonna have Wiggins and Butler having a pissing contest, and if they go up against good competition, they will lose like they did against the Spurs, and the Spurs didn't even have a point guard out there. Let's move now to Ricky Fizdale. Led the Knicks to a win in their first game and led them to another win. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I think it was a close one. They lost by a very, very close
2.
loss. Yeah,
that's a very much back and forth game.
Karras went ahead and hit that game winner and
sent
Brooklyn home happy.
Jake, you DM'd me about that. Looking at, did it cut out? Jake, you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. He was DMing me about it. I got in here and he was like, "This Knicks game is crazy." But
game of the night.
The Raptors game didn't turn out great. Can Fizdale lead the Knicks to 28 wins? The over-under before the start of the season was 27.5. They were in the last one, and they got a win in their first one against Atlanta.
I'm buying it. After 2 games, I'll go on a limb and say this. dark horse to make the playoffs in the East.
What?
Like, they
Stop
are a
it.
team
Okay.
that I was
Jesus
not looking at the
Christ.
beginning of the year. Are
This
they
is
gonna,
trying to quell
are
them and get
gonna-
rid of overreactions.
No.
And you're like,
Are
fuck
they
it, Knicks are in the playoffs.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
Are they the 4th seed?
Probably
Maybe.
not. But the thing that I look at is this Knicks team with Fizdale probably should be 2-0 on the season right now. 2 wins closer to that 28
Do you know how many
mark.
turnovers
Dark
Brooklyn
horses
has had?
Dark horses shouldn't make the playoffs, but there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance?
They had-
Yes, I am.
Jesus Christ.
22 turnovers. That means the Knicks had
Unlike the
3.
Sixers.
So that I'm sorry, they had a plus 18 turnover,
I said
and they still couldn't win.
I'm saying dark horse, Dave. I'm saying dark horse. Dark horse is if they don't make the playoffs, who cares? I didn't have them in there, but there's a chance they could if they start gelling during the season. If Fizdale gets them going, Tim Hardaway Jr. looked great in the first game. Am I going to expect him to put up insane numbers each and every night? No, but somebody from this team is going to step up. I will say for sure they will hit that 28 win mark. Their ceiling, though, is dark horse in the playoffs, even though they probably will still miss.
I'm guessing you're Foakley.
Foakley, plus 18 turnovers, and they still lost a game. How? How are you that terrible?
So you don't think they're going to be able to win over 27 games?
No, I've got them down for 20, probably 23, 24. Like, they're a bad team. I'll just say, I like people on the team. Knox showed up tonight. Hazonia, I think, hasn't been used right. Frank looks okay. Like, look, they've got a lot of pieces. They don't have a team. That's where it's at. When Lance Thomas is your starter, you don't have a team.
Jake, you've been seeing them. You're saying Oakley or Foakley to 27.5 wins.
Foakley on the wins, but I'm all Oakley on Tim Hardaway Jr. That kid's a stud. I don't care if he's shooting inefficient yet. That'll become whenever they actually have more people who can score the basketball. That's their main problem, is they don't have enough people who can actually capitalize on the turnovers and score the basketball, which is why they're missing Porzingis so much. I mean, at the end of the game, at the end of the game, they had Trey Burke, Frank, Kevin Knox, Tim Hardaway, and Ennis on the court.
By the way, you can't call Tim Hardaway a kid anymore. He's 26.
I mean, he's a kid to me. He's younger than me.
Yeah, but he's older than Jake.
He's older than me. My bad.
Yeah, I do it all the time too. And someone in the comments was like, "You are younger than them," or "Yeah, you're older than," or "You're younger than them." You can't call LeBron James kid. It's like this is just my dialect.
But I mean, I believe in Tim Hardaway Jr. I think whenever this team actually does come through and be good in a couple of years, he could still be on that team and still be starting on the team. He wasn't shying away from taking the last couple minutes. He was taking the shots, which is something I love. And I just think that he can score. That's all you need.
Ricky, I'm going to go Oakley with you. Now, I'm not saying dark horse in the playoffs
The
because I
wins.
still like the Nets more.
Just the wins.
I'll say they can win.
I mean, they
29, 28 games.
I know they had KP for most of last season, but they got 29 wins last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're saying that, like Dave says, they're going to drop off 6 games from last year.
Like Trey Burke can take over a game, weirdly enough. Like Tim Hardaway has taken over a game. I think you can get every. Enos is a top.
Lonzo Trier was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean people love that one dunk.
I like pieces of the team. I don't like them as a team. That's all.
All right. And final one we have, and this one was a little bit outdated because they got the doors blown off them in the first game. 111-83 lost to the Pacers. They had the worst point differential before this game. I was going to ask Dave, are the Grizzlies the worst team in the league? But before I do that, I'm looking at the box line from tonight. They win 131-117 over the Hawks. So maybe the Hawks are who fall to 0-2. But Trae Young had a block. So whoever got blocked by Trae Young needs to quit the league. You cannot be blocked by dinosaur arms out there. That is bad. I don't know who it is.
I'm going to look it up.
For the Memphis Grizzlies that got blocked by Trae Young. But that's bad. Dave, are the Memphis Grizzlies the worst team in the NBA?
I mean, they shellacked Atlanta. Like this game, what the scoreboard shows at the end, it wasn't that close. No, this is a Foakley. Like the Memphis Grizzlies are a solid team. They had an exceptional shooting night. I don't think that will continue long term, but I think that they're a mid-tier Western Conference team. No. Oh, yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
This is so Oakley, it's not even funny.
No.
They are the worst team in the NBA.
Out of here,
at least right now, and here's why. It's
here.
because JB Bickerstaff, or whatever his name is, maybe JB Bickerstaff can't coach. And that's the thing. Look at their rotations right now. Jaren Jackson's getting 28 minutes. That's fine. Chandler Parsons is getting 17 minutes. JaMychal Green's getting 14 minutes. You look at Omer Caspi, he's getting 24 minutes. Shelvin Mack getting 25. You go out and pay
this was a blowout.
You go out and pay Kyle Anderson 20. He's still coming off the bench, and he didn't get any minutes in the first game against the Pacers either. Kyle Anderson getting 20 minutes. Dylan Brooks getting 17 minutes. What are these rotations?
Kyle Anderson's stat line is 3, 4, 4, 4, 1. Like, come on, that's pretty good.
Even at 3 turnovers.
That's like a Terrence Ross thing.
I don't understand. Garrett Temple's getting 34, although he was 10 of 11 and 5 of 6.
He was literally fire.
Like, I look at this and I don't see them being good at all. I think they're going to trade pieces away, and I think they might end up finishing with the worst record because I think they might trade Connolly if he continues to play well. They might trade Gasol if someone wants to bite on it, and then that's going to take them to a below level tier. And I don't think that they have the right coach out there to put out the best players. Dylan Brooks should be playing more than Omer Caspi. Kyle Anderson should be playing more than Chandler Parsons. Jaren Jackson should be playing over JaMychal Green in the lineup. Let's get it going and let's get a team out there. And if they don't do it, they're going to be the worst team in the NBA. And I don't care that the Hawks have lost 2 straight and got blown out by the Knicks and Grizzlies. At least they're fun out there. Torian Prince is balling out.
Fun is not good.
That doesn't mean that they're not the worst team in the league.
Fuck the Grizzlies.
At 11:24 in
not the fans, but
11:24 in the fourth quarter, Trae Young blocks Dylan Brooks on a 1-foot
God
layup.
damn it.
I said Dylan Brooks on 1 of 7 on the night. Just an FYI.
You know what's going to happen now, right?
Because he played 4 minutes in the game before. He's ice cold.
What did you say about the person that got blocked by Trae Young?
You should quit the league.
You know what's going to happen? Last a year ago when I was on, we criticized somebody that went triple-double. Now the Grizzlies are
Did he say something? Because I took my headphones off.
He's talking.
He's talking shit about you and your predictions. That's all.
Hold on. Are you talking about Jokic?
No, he's saying the Grizzlies are going to win like
I said the Grizzlies are going to win 5 in a row now.
Oh, 5 in a row.
Because Lonzo was shit last year.
It's fine if it ends up being like your Lonzo take from last year because I mean it was just one game. That's all it was.
Most of our Lonzo takes. So yeah, it was all right. Majority of us were agreeing.
The majority of us were.
Final. That was the final one too. So
I mean, you're gonna put the Hawks above the Sixers like you did with every other team.
I'm putting the Hawks above the Sixers. What are you talking about?
Just said they're the worst team in the league.
4th team in the Eastern Conference.
It's a joke, people.
It's a joke because usually Sean's not high on the Sixers. That's what Jake's saying.
I'm high on the Sixers. I can't hear it all.
No one can.
My thing's
right
going
now.
in and out. All right. Can you not hear?
I can't hear now. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Don't touch.
Well, I think this has to be the end of it because I can't hear Jake at all. So that's going to be the end of Oakley Foakley. I had a fun time.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Jake, I'll let you talk. Dave, give me the thumbs up when he's done. But appreciate you. Any final thoughts that you got for us? We know we're going to be seeing you in March for Bulls Sixers, and we're going to have Jake in studio, which is going to be fun.
That'll be crazy.
But after a year, we appreciate all your support. We appreciate you coming on and talking. Hopefully, it's been worth it as well. But I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Trust the process as always.
That's all you got? Just a
I don't
simple
know what else you want me
TTP?
to say.
That's fine. It's classic Jake
All right,
fashion.
Jake.
I don't know what he's saying, but
Nothing.
I wish you just would have given me the thumbs up, and I would have just said that's beautiful because it would have been way funnier. But TTP, Jake, we appreciate all your support. Anyone want final thoughts?
Thanks, Jake. I love that you've come on and you've kind of changed. Hopefully you've changed a lot of people's minds on the Sixers. That not all their fans are arrogant douches, and totally selling that image.
Not arrogant douches, but Jake is definitely high on the Sixers. Let's say that.
So it's changing the opinion of them, not all Sixers fans are that bad.
Well, I hated the Sixers. Before I met Jake, I hated the Sixers, and that was based off of the Derrick Rose playoff series.
Right.
But
I'll never forget
Jake, although I am not high on the Sixers like I am on like the Celtics, Jake's a pretty cool dude.
Jake's part of the MVP family.
He's one of my dudes. One of my dudes, right, Sean? Mm-hmm. One of my dudes.
I hate that it's whenever Ricky finds out about something, and Jake, I'm gonna leave you on the phone. Whenever Ricky finds out about something, and he also knows you like it, then he's just gonna keep rubbing it into the ground, and it's not fun anymore.
This is the first time I mentioned it to you.
Yeah,
and that's already.
I mentioned it to you last week, and now it's just like you mentioned it once, and I didn't respond, and now you mentioned it again, and then you just mentioned it again. I get it.
It's only 2 times.
There's 3. You walked in, you just said my dudes, and then you just said my dudes again. Yeah, you've done it 3 times.
Oh no, I thought
he's keeping track.
Twice.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
I only thought he did it twice.
So, anyways, Jake.
Thank you, Jake, so much.
Appreciate you. If you want to be like Jake, he's one of a kind. Sorry. But if you want to be a patron like Jake, at least check out patreon.com/MostValuable Podcast. You could be on the fast break like Jake's on the fast break all the time. You could be on the Onside Kick, Primetime Podcast, a Patreon podcast, Rick and Johnny podcast as well. That's going to do it. Jake, appreciate you. It's been a fun year. Let's make it 2.